Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while since we recorded. This episode is about perfectionism in recovery, which we'll get onto in a minute, but we just wanted to share a bit about where we've been and why we haven't recorded for a couple of weeks. We're now in December, but during November, we ran our Recovery in Action course. So, yeah, we ran it for the month, which was amazing. Like, I actually miss it. Saf, I don't know about you. I miss all the people on it. It was so nice to get to know participants, get to know them a bit more week on week, like the goals that they're setting, the progress they're making, that kind of thing. And then also, whilst we were running it, people were asking about whether we could continue as a more of a, what do you call it, like an ongoing monthly running, I don't even know what to call it, like a community, a support space, something like that.
Safe space where you can just kind of come to like a touch base a couple of times a week that kind of just renews your, intentions with your recovery and makes
Mm.
you feel a bit less alone. Because even though you're not communicating with other people, you're communicating with us. So it kind of feels quite intimate in that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even though it's a group, no one ever speaks to each other within the group. It's kind of just like us and you because we like turn off the cameras, mute the microphones, disable the chat, that kind of thing. So we've tried to make it as much as possible, like not triggering, not comparative, a safe space kind of thing. And it's just really nice for us, like as coaches, you get to reach more people and interact with more people at once because we run our one-to-one practice, which is amazing. We have that like one-to-one time with our clients. But for to make it, I guess, more accessible to people, yeah, the course offered a really like nice way to be able to do that. So yeah, we're thinking now about, I don't know, running it as a more permanent community, private community. I don't know what you call it, like safe
Mm.
space. We need to think of a better name than this.
Yeah. Safe space is good though, because that's exactly what a lot of people have referred to it as being a safe space for them. Because a lot of people who have found it difficult to be in these kind of group settings when they've had treatment before have said that actually being in this kind of a setup has been so
Mm.
powerful for them to be able to really like turn inwards and focus on their own personal recovery and not compared to other people and,
Mm.
even other people's progress,
Mm. Yeah,
which,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're thinking of like some sort of like monthly subscription. Like also it'll be cheaper than like formal treatment or formal one-to-one coaching or whatever it would be. So yeah, hopefully a more accessible way for people to get like two sessions a week. We're probably thinking like a Sunday and a Thursday. Hopefully going to start it in January. I think we'll go pretty soon.
Hmm.
So if
Yeah.
you're interested, like we'll share more. We'll probably do an episode even just about what the community safe space would be.
Yeah. Hmm.
We'll think about branding in the meantime.
We get more detail. We just didn't want to leave it any time to wait for it to be perfect, which links
Right.
to what we're talking about today, because sometimes you just have to, you've got an idea and you've got a dream and you've got an ambition to do something. You kind of just have to get going with it. So many people have made such incredible progress in this past month, and we don't want to leave it too long. We want them to keep on with that momentum whilst they're in that space already. So do get in touch with us if you are interested in joining that community that will be beginning in January, either on Instagram or via email.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say exactly as you were just saying there, like perfectionism in recovery, oh, it can be so tricky. Like if you've got perfectionistic traits, which you quite likely do if you have an eating disorder, then
Yeah.
like that kind of like clashes with getting into recovery because you're like wanting it needs to be the perfect time or I need to be 100% ready or I need to know exactly what it's all going to look like, exactly what my path will be, exactly what the end result will be, like what will my life look like, what will my body look like, what will the weeks of recovery look like how will my progress map out, that kind of thing, like
Mm-hmm.
needing the perfect conditions before you start kind of thing, like even just trips you up to even think I'm going to begin recovery. And then it's like, oh, well, I won't do it this week because I've got a busy week at work, or I won't do it this weekend because we've got a family event and I want to be in a nice mood for that kind of thing. I'll start it on Monday. Like it's always like delayed and pushed because it never feels like the perfect conditions to even begin. Did you find that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, like everything about that. I felt like I had to have the perfect team and I had to have the perfect support around me, and the people around me had to say the perfect thing, which
Mm.
would create tension as well. It was like everything had to be perfectly aligned for
Mm.
me to actually do this. And that's the thing is perfectionism is what almost I think everybody that I've worked with seems to have a perfectionistic trait in some area of their life. So taking that into recovery is very like normal and natural. So if you're there, like you're definitely not alone. But the problem is it kind of clashes with recovery
Yeah.
because recovery is all about leaning into the messiness and the unknown and unpredictability of it. Like I think we've said before, like you can't recover knowing the trajectory of how your recovery perfectly goes.
Yeah.
So, and it's always about tweaking and supporting, like all the way through, it was always like, oh, maybe I need this bit more support here, or maybe this is not working, or maybe this tool
Yeah.
is working better. It's like a constant process of like trial and error whilst you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like accepting the messiness of it as well.
Mm.
It like almost the want for it to be perfect is like an eating disordered desire. Like you want an eating disordered recovery because you want it
Mm.
to feel as comfortable as possible. And like if I'm going, say you're regaining weight, if I'm going to go through weight regain, then I want to know it's exactly this amount each week and it will exactly correlate to what I've eaten that week. Even that, by the way, I get a lot with clients like, but my weight doesn't match what my food intake was this week. Blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
So it's like I want to have like been able to solve it and have like a perfectly straightforward, predictable, comfortable rate of everything because that will feel the most comfortable. But I guess in doing that, it's almost like feeding the eating disorder because it's looking for a way that it fits still within the eating disorder, like what's acceptable kind of thing. Like, okay, well, if this has to happen, it's most acceptable if it happens in this exact way, but you're still kind
Mm.
of ticking eating disorder boxes in that
Yeah,
sense. So it's like,
absolutely.
whereas versus, I guess, like the point of recovery is almost like letting that stuff go. Like you don't have the control over it, you don't have the formula behind it. Like it's not, you don't recover because you managed to solve food. You know, I
Mm.
actually solved the equation between food and my body and movement, whatever it is.
No.
You actually recover because you let that go. Like I'm no longer looking for a formula or an equation. Not, it's not that
Absolutely.
I perfectly found the answer to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like surrendering to that process so that you can have freedom on the other side and be able to have the flexibility to do what you truly care about in your life and live more value aligned and all those things. And also realizing like what is that perfectionism? Why did it come into your life? Like why were you using it? Like it was a coping tool. It was a tool for you to use because maybe you felt unsafe or unworthy or it just gave you a bit of self-worth. So knowing like, right, that's what it was trying to give me, but actually it's really not working for me. If anything, it's just making life harder and giving me low self-worth because life is so not perfect.
Mm,
Even when you have an eating disorder, it's not like it was perfectly going along all the time. There was always things messing it up, whether brands be changed or, I don't know, random meeting in the middle of something that you were meant to do or the conditions weren't perfect. So it's literally unattainable anyway.
yeah, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, and even if it is serving some sort of purpose, like
Mm.
I don't know, it makes me feel better if I feel like the conditions are perfect. But there's
Mm.
that like at what cost
Yes.
question. Like even if it serves a purpose to some degree, if it also sabotages a ton of
Yeah.
things
Mhm.
and gets in the way of your values and who you want to be and how you want to live, then is it really serving you? Like, even if it gives you something, you kind of have to look at like the net effect, like what's the overall impact on your life and does it overall serve you and get you where you want to go, kind of thing.
Mm. And I think sometimes people feel like they need to be perfect themselves, even like with their mood or emotions. Like that's something that we've spoken about, haven't we, with somebody on the course of feeling like, well, I need all these conditions in the right way because then I show up as like the perfect, sweet version of myself. And actually starting to mess with that and being like, actually I can be authentic and that means I'm not going to be sweet all the time and
Mm.
I'm not going to be the perfect version of me all the time smiling because life is really up and down with emotion normally whether you have an eating disorder or not, but like the feeling of being authentic and showing up who you truly are rather than almost like this mask is
Yeah.
such a great way to live life,
Yeah.
you know.
This tripped me up so much, by the way, in my recovery. Like,
I know, me
really,
too, it's so hard.
really, honestly, yeah. Like, week
Yeah.
after week, I found it a blocker in that, like, Bren and I would plan to do something, say, at the weekend. And so I would have the stress in the week of being like, I needed to have worked it in. I need to have researched, I don't know, restaurant menus, created a buffer, that kind of thing. Like I needed to have control all around it to be able to show up as the best version of me, like for the whatever it was we were doing together. So we were going out for dinner. yeah, so I'd be using like a load of eating disorder behaviors basically because I felt
Mm,
like I have to be bubbly and I have to be in a good mood and that kind of thing. But it was such a short-sighted, like short-term fix
mm-hmm,
of like, how am
mm,
I this week? How am I this week? How am I this week? But then if you looked at it across the course of like a year, then I was still stuck in the eating disorder, like at the end of it all, I still wasn't able to, I wasn't authentically showing up, like you're saying, as a bubbly version of me. I was using food to control things to be able to show up like that.
that way.
But I feel like then I had to kind of go through a period of like, okay, I'm going to do this in a recovery way. So I'm not creating a buffer. I'm not compensating around it, that kind of thing, which made me more stressed at the
Yes.
event. So I was actually like, on the surface of it, I looked like it was worse. Like,
Yeah.
like I was
It's
in a
like you're
worse
struggling
mood.
more so.
Yes, I
Mm.
was more irritable, really irritable, like in a worse mood, not even able to focus on things properly sometimes, like not
Yeah.
able to
Not
properly
being
have a
present.
conversation. Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
my head about like, but what are we eating? And I didn't miss something earlier to allow for it, blah, blah, blah. But like Bren and I had a conversation about it. Like this is to be expected almost. Like it is going to be really
Yeah.
hard for a few weeks whilst I'm not using eating disorder behaviors to manage my mood kind of thing. But it's like for the greater good kind of thing. Like it
Yeah.
won't be forever. And there's a reason for it. Like he expected it a bit as well. I was like, I'm really sorry, but this, like, I may not be in the best mood when we go out this week and next week, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
But then a few weeks later, I was able to do it and be like, now I've not compensated around it and I genuinely
Mm.
feel in a better mood kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with you more. Like, yeah, I had the same thing, and it was more to do with movement than it was the food part, actually. So I was like, well, if I haven't exercised in this particular way before I go to these events or dates or whatever it is, then I'm just like not going to be a good version of myself. Like, I relied on that to make me feel good, whether that was because it genuinely made me feel good or whether it's because I felt like I ticked a box. So when I wasn't doing that, it I don't yeah, there was some it wasn't like every time I was the worst version of myself, but it was a lot of the time. Like I
Mm.
just felt like this irritation, anxiety, like just not present at all in my head,
Yeah.
stressed about it, that I hadn't done this and I should have done it and da 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 da. And it's also remembering though that like that idea of needing to get it done was causing me so much stress and anxiety too. So like you can
Yeah.
be like, oh well, if I only did it done, then then I would have been okay in this moment. But actually, if you keep doing it, you're just going to be stuck in the
Yeah.
cycle of always needing it.
That's
And
so
it's
true. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, even if it helps you at the event that you turn up and you're a bubblier version of you, let's
Yeah.
say, it's not like in the whole week in the run up to it, you've been great.
No,
Like,
you've
it's,
lost a week of your life for
yeah.
that bit.
Yeah.
But also, even in the event, to be honest, like when I look back on them now, I was not present at all.
Mm.
Like even I was bubbly, like it was like
A
a
superficial
surface
kind of,
level, a
yeah.
superficial surface level version of me, but underneath, like I was still in my head, even though I ticked those boxes, I just still wasn't able to be present.
Yeah. Yeah. And with a ton of work around it.
Ton of work around it, yeah.
That thing of
And
like you're a
yeah,
duck on the surface, but is it a duck? Swan? But underneath the water, you're like frantically kicking your legs to manage
yeah,
everything. It's like a lot of behind the scenes work going on. And then you feel like you're living a double life as well. Like you don't feel,
which feels rubbish. You feel like
yeah,
nobody knows you. It's quite
yeah,
lonely.
yeah.
Like you just feel like nobody understands where you're at.
Yeah, and that's quite panicky as well because then you've got a lot of things you need to do around an event, like at
Mm.
Christmas or a holiday or something like that, when you're kind of with people for a lot of the time, then there's got a lot of panic of like, well, how am I going to fit in everything I need to do to be able to
Oh
show
my
up how I want
gosh.
to show up? Like it's not
Yeah,
really as a strategy to be able to show up as a bubbly person, let's say.
it's
It's
rubbish.
not a very flexible strategy. It's quite a stressful
No.
one. And also it's not compatible with like I also want to achieve this in life or be this person genuinely or like live in line with my values. Like it's that thing of it sabotages a lot as well.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want from your life? Like, I wanted to be spontaneous. Like, I wanted to be able to somebody to
Me
say,
too.
"Do you want to go here?" and just go, as opposed to needing to do all this stuff to be able to just go there.
Yes, but give me a
Even just for
2 week run up.
myself. Yeah, give me a 2 week run up.
Give me 2 weeks and I'll
Then
be
I can be
spontaneous.
exactly. So, like, that was such a big thing for me. I wanted to be able to travel, like, even within the country. Like, I just wanted to be able to do like a staycation and not think that how would that work with, movement and food or stay at somebody's house. Like, I just, or have somebody over and not
Yeah.
think, how is that going to work over? Like we're in Dubai, so we get a lot of visitors. Like I didn't want that to be, how is that going to impact my rules and the way that I'm living? And then worrying about being bubbly for them for a whole week and like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to supercharge everything. I'm gonna have to supercharge all of the eating disorder rules. So it's yeah,
Yeah.
perfectionism really is tough. It's
Mm.
hard. Mm.
So what about the like getting started even that feeling of like I need to 100% want it. I need to feel ready. The conditions need to
Yeah.
be perfect. I need the perfect team in place. It needs to be the perfect time in my life.
It's just never gonna happen, is it? There is no perfect conditions.
Yeah.
And we did have an amazing therapist. We're so lucky. Um, but it wasn't like everything aligned and everything was perfect at that time, or like work was less stressful. If I was always waiting for work to be less stressful, I never would have got started. Or if I was always waiting for the perfect support holistically all around,
Mm.
like I would have never began because there's just never enough, is there? Like
Yeah.
it's never gonna be enough. And not everybody's gonna say the right thing all the time,
Yeah.
So it's hard to expect that because you kind of just got to start
Yeah.
and just begin and find your way through as you're going.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. You'll never feel 100% ready. You've got to like
Yeah.
even just find that 1% and be like, okay, I'm going to act in line with the 1%
Yes.
kind of thing.
1%'s okay.
Yeah, agree. Because I guess you're doing it to ultimately be in a place where you're 100% aligned. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
100% want recovery during it, but now I'm there. I 100% am glad that I did it, kind of thing.
Yes.
So you've got to act
Yes.
on, like, okay, future me will 100% want this, you know, when I'm on
Yeah.
the other side of it. So acting in line with that version, you don't need to be there because you will never will be there today.
Mm-mm.
Because if you've got an eating disorder, like your brain is still wired around the eating disorder. So when you're making decisions, that will still be like heavily influencing how
Mm-hmm.
you feel, what you want, the thoughts you're getting, what feels right, what feels wrong, that kind of thing. So you can't
Yeah.
expect to have like a recovered brain on your head to be like, yeah, this is
No.
100% what we want. This is what life's going to look like.
No, no, exactly. And knowing that you are still going to have those perfectionistic like tendencies, like to not even like, don't put the pressure onto yourself to like not even be perfectionistic, be like just gain awareness of it. Like you can just imagine it becomes a bit of a cycle, but just gain awareness of the fact like, okay, right, that's me trying to be perfectionistic over my recovery, like call it out and then challenge it
Mm,
slowly but surely of like, no, okay, I messed up this part of my recovery. But that doesn't mean the whole day's a write-off, like get back up, keep
mm,
going.
mm,
And there was plenty of times where that was the case for me, where I needed to do that and like come back, or I was
mm.
worried that maybe if I'd not reframed in the perfect way or had not said the
Right.
perfect soundbite, then I wouldn't have done what I needed to do. But actually, you have to zoom out, see the bigger picture of things. And if you're moving the right kind of direction, and you're meeting the foundational items, like sometimes you're going to have those days which are harder, but it's about reaching out for support, like following the plan, using accountability, and keeping going.
Mm, mm. Do you mean like that it's not like every day in recovery is a perfect recovery day and you feel
No,
motivated and use the right
exactly,
tools and
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you're doing it and you're frustrated and you're angry and you're like, I don't want to be doing this. So you're like, "Wait, am I telling my brain the right type of thing? My brain's watching me kind of get annoyed. But I think knowing that like that's normal, like you're trying to create a new pathway and behavior change is hard, isn't
mm,
it, for your brain to accept always?
yeah. Yeah, I think
Mm.
expecting it to be hard as well is helpful
Yeah.
because otherwise, like when you start, like you challenge something, it feels so horrific and it feels so wrong. Like everything in your being is like, this is wrong, stop it. Because your brain is wired around not doing whatever the thing is. So of course, when you do it, it's going to feel wrong, but not
Mm.
using that as a sign of like, oh, see, therefore it's wrong. I need to stop kind of thing. Like
Yes.
expecting it's not going to be like there is no nice, easy, fun recovery kind of thing.
Mm.
And
Mm.
sometimes I think like that it's almost like a disservice on social media, some channels, that
Mm.
kind of thing, because it does some make it look fun, like like gamifying it or like I don't know, my dog chooses my food for me for a day, that kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, yeah, and people go about it however they go about it. But
Yeah.
like to me, it was not a fun experience at all.
Mm.
Like I didn't really enjoy the process.
At all, at any point.
No,
Mm.
not really. Sometimes, yeah, the food was nice sometimes, but that's another
Yeah.
thing. I had like a pressure of like I need to like
Yeah.
perfectly enjoy this food. It needs to be the perfect food. And almost like, I don't know how to say this, like there was almost like a quota or like an allowance of recovery food. And like I had a period of time that I had to make the most out of recovery. And I guess
Yeah.
because I'd gone so long without these foods, now that I was
Mm.
allowed them, it was like a huge pressure on them. And it was like, well,
Mm.
don't mess up recovery. This is your opportunity to have this
Mm.
food. Don't mess it up. Make sure you
Mm.
enjoy it. Make sure you choose the perfect foods on the perfect day. Da 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 da.
The perfect place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like it's forever. I'm not sat here
It's
like I'm
forever.
still having the foods now.
Mm.
Nothing was like this is your one-time opportunity to eat this. Don't mess it up. Like no, everything I
Mm.
had in my recovery, I still have now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And knowing that also, like, I think you called it like the sparkly goals in the course, which I thought was a really good term. Is like we talked about the fact with the course participants that we've got these like foundational items, the things that have to be in your diet, like they is non-negotiable. Like you just need these like regular foods and they're coming in regularly and all of those things. And then sometimes you're making the sparkly goals that you do at some point in your recovery where you feel able to do the things where you're going out or you're socializing and you're enjoying things. Um, and sometimes I think people feel like they need a lot of the sparkly goals
Mm,
in order to recover because I think again, like that's what they see on social media or YouTube is people like they're going to the cafes to challenge things or they're, like really going all out. And I think sometimes like the hardest things in recovery are actually the things where you're grabbing the snack and you're eating it in the car from one place to the other, or,
mm.
you're even though the conditions are not perfect, you are still sticking with your recovery. And I just think that that is such an important thing
Yeah.
as well.
That's so
Mm,
true. Yeah, often the goals aren't that sexy. Yes, you can have a pitch perfect bowl of whatever or a slice of cake
mm,
in a cafe and it's a perfectly beautiful scenario. But generally, it's like challenging something you've been avoiding, repeating it, doing it again and again and again. And then it's like, okay, now I feel comfortable doing it at the weekend. I now need to do it in the week. Or I feel comfortable
mm,
doing it with another person. I now need to do it on my own. Or I could do it
mm,
in that cafe. Now I need to do it in another cafe that I don't know, this one shows the calories on the menu, that one didn't show the calories on the menu. There's a lot of
mm,
like contexts that you need to keep
mm,
challenging around. Like it's a very like repetitive,
mm,
like you've got to be consistent. It's quite hard. It's not
mm.
always a perfect condition. It's not always enjoyable, if ever.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and expecting that on the get-go that that's
Yeah.
kind of the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And then you know you're not doing something wrong when it feels like this is hard, this is tough, this doesn't feel
Yeah.
good, this is messy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That
know you're
messiness.
doing something different. That messiness. Yeah.
Yeah. And even that messiness around like things don't perfectly correlate in recovery as well. Like I think another really common, like I hear it from clients all the time, is like they want a perfect correlation between like the change in my food rules with my weight, with my ability to socialize, my relationships, my whatever else, mental state, my thoughts about food, that kind of thing. Like they want everything to like perfectly
Like a
progress.
bar graph. Like a
Yeah,
bar graph. Every single like element of the bar graph is going up at the
every
same time.
line matches. Yeah,
Every line matches. Yeah,
which
it's
it
leveled out.
so does not.
No, it doesn't at all. Yeah.
There
It's
is
hard.
no like perfect trajectory or perfect formula or like how do I perfectly challenge this in the at the exact time that this improves, at the exact time that I gain this exact amount of weight. Like no, 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 no. It does not
No.
happen like that at all. It's so
Yeah.
much messier.
Which is so frustrating. I used to be so frustrated with that. Like, especially
Mm,
like I just
true.
wanted physical recovery, like really quickly. Like I just wanted my hormones to be sorted. Like I just was like almost like impatient with that. And it's just like knowing that you can't almost rush, especially that one. Like you've just
Mm.
got to let it be and you've got to be calmer and surrendering and not trying to control and just trusting your body that it will eventually get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people as well would choose like my body image can recover quickly and my
Yeah.
socializing can recover quickly and my thoughts of food can recover and my rules around food, but I'd like my body to recover like
Yeah.
last.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as well, like when you recover, like especially us, like we wouldn't wish for that body back. So, so much changes in terms of the lens that you look at life
Yeah.
through. And yeah, it's hard to imagine though when you're
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. And it's hard as well because I feel like there's often a lag, like your mental recovery can be lagging,
Mm,
you know. Like I remember being in healthy BMIs and still gaining weight, but being
mm,
like, why am I still so disordered around food? Like, why do I
mm,
still have so many rules or I think about it so much? And then there's that perfectionism of like, oh, well, I've not done it properly because it's not all
mm.
aligned at the exact right speed. And now I need to undo it so I can have another go at it. And this time I'll challenge the food better so that when I hit this point next time, I'm more recovered in my brain. And
Yeah. That is
so,
such a common thing I
so
hear,
common.
actually. I hear that a lot. And so, how did you move through that and know that you weren't at your end point? Yeah.
It was so uncomfortable, honestly. Like it's that thing of it did
Mm.
feel really wrong. And it was so frustrating as well. Like it was
Yeah.
so not how I would have designed it. You know, if I was going for a comfortable recovery, this is not what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think just feeling shit and doing it anyway, honestly. Like this
Mm.
isn't what I'd have chosen, but I guess I wasn't recovering for a certain body or I wasn't recovering for a certain trajectory of weight gain. I was recovering for these things in life that I'd lost to it. You know, I didn't want to be isolated anymore. I didn't want to think about food all day.
Yeah.
So I think keeping my spotlight on like the life I wanted to live and going after that versus
Mm.
choosing the body I wanted to have and going after that. And then accepting a bit as well that like my body is not, I don't get to choose my body weight. My body's never going to adapt to a state of starvation. It's never going
Mm.
to slightly suppress its body weight and be happy there. You know, like kind
Mm.
of accepting I can't really choose my biology. I kind of just have to accept like you're born into the body
Yeah.
you're born into. It's a genetic lottery. This is the hand you're dealt, but you can kind of let it go a little bit and just
Yeah.
surrender a bit more and leave your body be, and then
Yeah.
focus a bit more on like, okay, how do I live my life?
Yeah. How do I live my life now that I've put that into its particular, perspective in my life? Like that I
Yeah.
don't want that to take over. I want
Yeah.
other areas to be
Yeah.
have bigger portions.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think it's a very clunky process as well. So at first,
Mm.
I had to force my lens onto life and almost felt like I was tricking myself. Like, oh no, you will care more about this and this than you do about your body. When I was sat there thinking, no, all I
Mm.
care about is my
Mm.
body and how I feel in my body and that number I see on the scales. And like at the
Mm.
time, because my lens and that lag, like my lens was still very much focused on my body. So it felt
Mm.
really like I was trying to make myself care more about life, but I didn't really. And life felt a bit empty as well. It was a bit of a void, a bit of like, well, what is my life? Who am I? What do I even care about? What do I do with
Mm.
my time? What would I think about if I wasn't thinking
That's
about
it.
food? But I really think over time, it's like probably through forcing it to shift and just natural changes and like living my life a bit more in the years beyond recovery. I now
Mm.
like it now has shifted and I really don't think about my body that much.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You're not forcing it anymore. It just has happened naturally, maybe because of all the work you put in
Mm,
and also your body kind of like your brain catching up. Like you say, like sometimes your brain's not catching up with the rest of your recovery too.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a tricky period where you're like feeling there's a lag in like your mental recovery and
It is definitely a blind faith part, isn't it? It's like there's different areas of recovery, different stages of recovery where that blind faith kind of comes in, and you have to kind of like listen to the experience of other people who've kind of been through it, and also look back on your own of like knowing that you do get through these periods of time.
Mm,
Um, but it's tough. It is
mm.
hard
Did you have anything else when you hit this kind of
in terms of like the perfectionistic, expecting all of it to kind of line up in one place.
yeah, and the frustration of the lag?
I felt like I feel like I felt it most with two areas. One, like I said, was like the hormonal area. Like my body seemed to not wake up till really late into my recovery, opposite to you. And so I was getting very frustrated with that, where I felt like I'm putting in all this work and this effort, and then I was like, like I was like my bones are still like not getting all of that hormones. Like I was getting frustrated. I was like, I feel like I've done so much and
Mm,
like I'm not getting the payoff
not
for
paying
that.
off. Yeah, this is unfair kind of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
This is unfair. And then when my periods did return, like I still was not mentally free. And so feeling like,
Yeah.
okay, now that's happened, I'm still not free
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
food. I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
have a load of food rules and I've got to keep going. And I kind of thought
Yes.
that when I got my periods back, like tick, boom, everything. I thought like everything, the whole, all the bar charts would be leveled up at that point, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so that was a really next kind of like hard element. And then I think with the movement, it was that my body had it took a while for my body to get used to that feeling of not
Mm.
moving my body in that
Right.
way. But it was quicker than I ever imagined, actually.
Right.
I thought I'd be in torture forever. But actually, it's quite amazing how your body does adjust
Well,
and you start to use other coping tools and you start to bring in other routines in your
yeah.
day,
Like fill your
and
time in a different way.
feel your time in a different way
Yeah.
and I'll start to accept yourself more
Yeah.
as being authentic.
Yeah. And then you gradually lost that like skin crawling.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that that would be forever. So
Right.
yeah, so I was quite surprised how quickly that actually did go.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's amazing actually, like some of the things that you think will be forever and be
Yeah.
the most awful things you've ever experienced can be quicker
Yeah.
and easier than you think.
Yeah. I think knowing like the discomfort you're feeling is a short-term thing. Like you're not going
Yeah.
through it to now learn how to cope with this feeling forever. It's
No.
like a means to an end. You're going through it to never have to feel it again, kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Even like I felt like I was very hyper aware of my body as it was changing during my recovery. And then, but like obviously like now I'm sitting here
Yeah.
not aware of my
Yeah,
body.
I agree. I think it gradually shifts. Even
Yeah.
like it takes a long time. Like even I feel like when you're into a solid recovery, there's still changes gradually happening and like you're living your life more and that's taking up more of your focus and purpose
Mm.
and attention, what have you.
Yeah. And also always looking back and thinking like you're going to look back on the days when you had your eating disorder. When you're in recovery, you look back with like rose tinted glasses of like, oh, maybe that movement wasn't so bad. It didn't really impact my life that much. Or like,
Mm.
I never felt uncomfortable in my body. I never felt sad. I always felt happy. I was always
Yeah.
bubbly and joyous. Like you forget actually how awful it was
Mm.
living with it.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why you actively chose to go into recovery. Like there was a point where you were like, I can't keep up with this anymore. Like I can't do this. I don't want my life to be this hamster wheel anymore. Well, that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Felt like I was life on a hamster wheel, ticking boxes as I was
Yeah.
going. So
Yeah.
remembering that, that's a really normal part of the process too.
Yeah, I think like completing the picture is so important. Like, say you see a photo of yourself and you think like, oh, I was so happy in that body, or I would be so happy if I fit these jeans, or if I saw this number on the scale. Like, would you really? Like,
Yeah,
what's your
really.
daily routine for that body? Like, what's your mental state? How much are you thinking about food? What are you able to eat in the day, or how much are you forcing your body to go through in a day? Like, are you
Mm.
really happy? Like, you're
Are you
never
really
just a
that?
photo. You're never just fitting into a pair of jeans. You're also like a routine, an emotional state, relationships. Like, what does all that look like?
Absolutely, absolutely. And realizing you want more for your life than that. Like, what do you want to look back and have wanted for your life? Like, you want more. You want to achieve more, connected more, experience more. And to fit into those genes, so much of that has to be pushed to
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah. Yeah. I say this with clients. Like when a year passes with an eating disorder, what do you get out of the year? Like every day
Mm.
feels like the most important thing. Like I have to see this number on the scales, or but I have to fit this size of jeans, or whatever the thing is. Like I have to tick these boxes. I have to eat under this amount or move this amount. And it feels like the most burning like need in that day. Like you have to do it. But at the end of the year, you don't tend to look back and be like, I'm so glad that every day of that year I saw this number on the scale. But even though it
Absolutely.
feels so important in the moment, but actually over time, it doesn't produce much kind of thing. You're not like, it's not
I'm
a
really proud
long
of that
term. Yeah, it's not
moment.
like a long
That's something I'm going to
term.
hold on to, or that's a special moment that I'm always going to remember. Whereas
Yeah.
yeah, without an eating disorder, you experience the true highs and lows of life, and it's a great experience to be able to feel all those feelings. I
Mm.
felt like I was quite numbed out to a lot of it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like, I think when you're letting go of this perfectionistic thing, like, I think it can be part of people's identity for such a long time. So I think that's a hard thing of like, I am the perfectionist, like,
Mm.
whether that be with your studies or, it's often not just with food, like, it's with work or the way that I don't know, maybe you're super tidy or whatever it is. And so it can be really hard letting go of that. But I think it opens up the possibility for you to actually learn so much more about yourself, of who you
Mm.
truly are without that.
Mm. Yeah. Accept the messiness of life kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still struggle with this a
yeah.
lot, by the way. I don't know about you.
I know you do. I
A
know you do.
lot.
I know you do. And like you know, but I've seen the evolution of you even through this podcast and through like we embrace the messiness so much
Well,
more
yes.
so.
Yes, definitely. And like for me, having the
Um,
girls, like having twins forced me into
yeah.
this like unbelievable shit show of chaos that I have.
To say it
What a
blatantly.
blessing.
Not to mix my words. What a blessing, the joys of
No,
my life
but
as well.
genuine, it was like a
And
genuine
the
blessing
power of
of
and.
chaos.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
In
yeah,
that I
of course.
really, really struggled with the like level of what, but actually,
Yeah, of course, as would
yeah.
anybody.
But it has like forced me to embrace that a lot and let go. But
Yeah.
still, I just like have such an underlying perfectionistic trait. And anytime I do something new, it always comes to the surface again. And I like spot it. Like I've learned not to do it with food, but I
Mm,
still like we've just painted the house and we went through like 50 samples of white. White, not even colors, white. I was reading
no,
blogs.
can't.
I literally was like having a panic attack reading a blog about white paint. Like, Brend, if you're south facing, white shows up like this. And if it's next to a bluey color, it's going to bring out hues of. I was like, how is there so much to know about white?
I did not know that, to be honest,
don't
myself.
don't look into white paint.
At
Just
least
choose
this is
one.
a safer way for you to channel that perfectionism.
Yeah, I definitely still need to
It's
work on
pain.
it. Hmm.
But you are, and you're doing it in a safer way than you have, you know, in the past. But I think it is always a process, isn't it?
Mm,
And it's always like a feeling of like, oh, okay, I didn't do as well as what I'd hoped. That's been my kind of thing of like feeling like I maybe didn't do as well with something that I'd
yeah.
wanted to do, but also like just letting it go.
Letting
Like
it
it's
go, put it in
okay.
the fuck it bucket. Yeah.
Bucket,
Um,
bucket. Yeah. Love
mine's
that. You love a
mine's full.
bucket. You talk
Yeah,
a lot
mine is
about
brimming.
buckets. Yeah. Hmm.
I got that one from my sister-in-law actually. She told me that with kids.
Oh,
Like they need to put a lot of things in the fuck it bucket. I was like, oh, okay.
ah,
Um, Also,
wisdom.
I do think with recovery, like as much as I do still fall into the traps, I am so grateful like the food is taken care of. Otherwise, I never would have been able to work through
Yeah.
it really because it
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
like saturated with food control that
So
I feel like
intrinsic to it all.
yeah, I feel
Mm,
like I've gone through a lot more like general growth in life, if you can call it that, than I would have been able to
100%.
do if I was still in the eating disorder because it was so consuming to stay in like my rules and rigidities and rituals and that kind of thing that at least now I'm kind of like being able to work on the rest of my mess.
Absolutely. Well, because you loosened the grip on the tightest perfectionistic part of your whole life. So when you loosen the grip on that, like other things are easier to
Mm,
challenge, I think.
yeah.
Um, and you're more aware of it than ever. I did it a lot with my studies, like when I
Right.
was studying in university and stuff like that. Like I
Hmm.
always wanted to get that, and then I felt awful as a person when I didn't achieve that. So I
Mm.
think but yeah, I wonder whether I'd be like that if I went back into studying now. But I think
Mm.
it's interesting how much you have to work through. I just think recovery generally, it's like so far from just about food and your body. It's so much more than that, isn't it? You're
Mm.
helping so much of other areas of your life too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my dad always used to say to me, good enough is good enough. I used to be like,
Mm.
but how? How is it good enough if it's
What do you
not
mean?
perfect? Yeah.
Yeah. But what a beautiful thing for your dad to say to you.
Mm. It's nice. It's
Like,
definitely stuck with me. And now I get it a bit more. As a teenager, it was literally like he was talking Japanese to me. I was like, what?
mm, yeah, yeah. And how Florence always tells us, our friend always tells us
Oh,
just to aim for a C grade.
oh my God. I love that so much. Do you know that helped me so much after having the girls? I would constantly
Yeah.
think, is that a C? It's fine. Quite often it was like D and E. I was like, it's close enough to a C. It'll do.
It's just one or two below. It's all good. Yeah, yeah. And that is it through life. Like we don't have to, nobody can have a perfect life. Otherwise, it's not really like a well-lived life. It's like, you know, it's never
Yeah,
going
the
to be
humanness
perfect.
of it kind of thing.
Humanness of it and always challenging yourself and, you know, going through for new experiences you wanted to go to. You're never going to be able to be perfect at them all the time. So the main part of this podcast, what we really wanted to share is like, don't ever wait for all of the things to be perfect and aligned
Mm.
to get
Yeah.
started or to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually what you're trying to leave behind. It's not like
Yeah.
you enter into recovery because you've cracked the perfect formula or you're in the perfect situation. It's more that you're doing it despite the imperfections kind of thing, like
Mhm.
despite the messiness, or I'm embracing the messiness, I'm letting go
Yeah,
and doing it anyway.
and doing it anyway.
That's made me think actually. One thing I speak to clients about is this like trying to solve the formula. Like I need the perfect conditions or the perfect rate of weight gain to the perfect amount of intake, whatever it is. And then I talk to them about like, is it even solvable, the formula of your body? Like,
Mhm.
imagine how many people you'd have to have working on it week after week to solve your body's formula. You know, it's so complex. It's not just like I can't even think of formula with letters. It's not. It's not a straightforward thing. And also each week is different, like as you're a different age or you're ill one week or
Exactly.
stressed or you've slept a different
Yeah.
amount. Like there really is not a formula that you can solve for your body. And even
Mhm.
if you could, like what would the cost be of trying to solve that formula? Like, even if someone told me I could solve the formula of my body, I'd be like, no, thank you, because I don't want that much focus on my body. And also, it would take up so much of my time and energy and focus and attention. Did I say attention? Yeah, like it
Mhm.
just, I'd be like, no, I'd rather just like, it's not, I didn't recover because I solved my body. I recovered because I like let it go a bit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't want it to be the center of your life anymore. You want it to be a part of your life that you care for your body, you look after it because it's the vessel that gets you from one thing to the other and gets you through life. But actually, your worth is not based on the way your body looks or any more. And absolutely, you're right. Like your body will completely change over the years, with whatever is going on to it. So even if you think you've cracked it, like couple of years later, life happens, changes happen. Like and then it's always going to feel unsafe. You're always going to feel like you're not being perfect
Mm.
because the conditions are always altering, and
Yep,
that is
totally.
a hard thing to live with.
Yeah, you don't solve it one week and that's you done for the rest of your life. Like I've got the manual now, I know what I'm doing. Like the next day, the slate wipes clean.
Every time, and then the tick boxes reappear, and it's yeah, and but to free yourself from it is just so nice. It's not in the beginning necessarily. In
No.
the beginning, it's so hard, but ultimately, it really is. So something that often comes up with clients as well is this idea of comparing to other people. Like other people have this perfect recovery, they're doing it in this perfect way, they've got the perfect treatment team, or their body is changing in the perfect way, or maybe they've got family support, whatever it may be. Like comparison is so tough
Mm.
with recovery, which is one of the reasons why we kept it such a safe space during our course, so
Mm.
that people didn't feel like that, because I think it's very natural to compare when you want to achieve something and you're thinking, why am I not being able to do what they can do? Or how come they're moving through things so much quicker?
Yeah.
Have your clients been struggling with this, well, May?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely hear this one. And even comparison to yourself as well. Like I've been iller in the past, or I don't know.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, that like looking for like external markers of like again, it's conditions. Like if this, and
Yeah.
this is perfect under whatever my conditions and rules are, then I'm allowed to recover, or like it's deserved, something like that, or it's justified.
Yeah. Yeah, people sometimes feel bad like that they've maybe got part way through their weight restoration and they haven't challenged everything that they wanted to challenge. So feeling
Mm.
like, do I need to start again to be
Yeah,
able to? It's like, no,
yeah.
don't go back, keep going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. But also we did loads of our challenging, like it didn't all match our weight. Like I was in healthy BMIs when I was still
Oh yeah,
scared of this food or
absolutely.
would have to restrict this, and I had to keep challenging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's
absolutely.
like ultimately you still end up in the destination of unconditional, like
Yeah.
you can eat unconditionally. It kind of doesn't matter the route that you get there, you're there at the end kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. In the beginning, you need to focus on the foundation, the adequacy, and the making sure you're eating regularly, and then you can kind of build up from those foundations.
Mm. And
Mm.
you're never going to appease all of the conditions of the eating disorder. Like you have to be sick enough or look this enough or have achieved, not achieved, have experienced this, or I don't know, that
Yeah.
person did this, that person did that. I guess that like stick to your own lane.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like for anybody else, but like
Yeah.
you're kind of just on your own path with it. And also
Yeah.
time doesn't stand still. Like there is no better time than now kind of thing. Like, I'll wait till this, and this. But then in that time, all you've done is strengthen the eating disorder. More time has passed, it's become more ingrained. So it doesn't get you better able to recover. Like, even that idea of like creating buffers for things as well. Like, say Christmas is coming up, I'll create a buffer ahead of Christmas,
Mm.
like restrict ahead of it. It doesn't help because you're actually training your brain more and more and more into restriction. And that restrictive mindset is even more active. So it doesn't then switch off the day that it's Christmas. Like, your brain doesn't have a Christmas mode.
No, if anything, you've been lighting up that pathway all
Yeah.
the way up to Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know that's actually something I used to have my eating disorder as well as like I'll restrict so that then I can stop restricting and enjoy the food even more.
never works.
No, it didn't ever work.
Never works.
Yeah.
No. If anything, you're just like, well, why am I going to ruin it now when I've tortured myself for 2 weeks? It's just like there's something about momentum of doing things in a recovery way as well. Like when sometimes when people challenge something, like it gives them the momentum to just keep on going.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think also with the comparison thing, sometimes people compare to like maybe I'm not worthy of like getting help, maybe it's not bad enough, somebody else has got it worse than me, but it really doesn't matter. Like there probably is always going to be people with eating disorders, and maybe in some elements they have it more intense, maybe they don't. I don't know, but the point is like, is it impacting your life and like the life you want to lead?
Mm.
Because it's not a reason for you to hold off everything you aspire to or everything you want to experience because somebody else isn't able to as
Yeah.
well. Like it doesn't, there's no logic in it really.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. If your quality of life is impacted by it, like what's your day-to-day lived experience? What is
Yeah,
it to be you in your brain and your body? Is it nice?
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
pleasant? Is it carefree? Is it relaxed? Is it fun?
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
lighthearted? Like, is it whatever you would want it to be? And if it's not an enjoyable experience, if your days are not enjoyable, like even that experience, of like just getting through the day, surviving the day,
Mm,
like
mm.
imagine being like, I survived the year,
Life.
survived my life.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
I
It's
got
not
I got
meant to be
through the
something to
days.
just, yeah,
I looked
yeah,
forward
yeah,
to bed from the minute I waked up.
yeah. I used to literally just like try not to wake up as long as possible because I just didn't want the day to kind of
Yeah,
start. And it's like, and I just wanted to sleep away some of the torture. So like, I
right.
agree. Like, it's just like not a good and not a life you want to live. And if you even have a bit of that,
Yeah,
1% of it is
that's enough.
worth recovering
Yeah,
for. You don't need 100%. Like every single part of my life is
yeah.
awful, but even if a bit of it is taken up with that, it's worth
That's enough,
recovering for.
100%. Yeah. And you don't even need like, this is my big shiny goal that I'm recovering for. I know the exact life that I want. Like,
No.
just not enjoying your day-to-day lived experience because of
Mm.
your eating disorder thinking, relationship to food, whatever, like, that's enough of a reason
That's more
to
than enough.
change. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the one you can't fight with, really. Like so many of the other areas, you could be like, well, it's not that bad, or I can have that relationship, or I can do some of these events, but do you want those thoughts in your head?
Yeah.
Like in the first place, do you want those thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Gaudiani speaks about, I think it's in her book, Sick Enough. She talks about genetic variability in response to starvation. So you can't really compare yourself to somebody else because everybody responds to everything differently. Just like
Absolutely.
even like I don't know the sun, like people's what like burning in sun or not, like everyone's got different responses.
Good
Can't think
point.
of another
Yeah.
example.
That was a great example.
Okay.
That's a brilliant example. That was a really good example. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so like put two people through starvation.
Yeah. They're
And
each going to
like
be
what will
different.
happen, someone's bones will be different. What happens to even you and me, periods, hormones,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hair, what people look like, how their body
Mm.
functions, their energy, their whatever, like will be different in two different bodies. So you can't be like, oh, I don't know, they've done it better than I have, or they've responded better. Like no one
Mhm.
gets a choice. Like it's genetic
No,
response, genetic
absolutely.
variability in the response.
Yeah, yeah. And that can be frustrating when you're looking at somebody else who's maybe been able to do something. But at the end of the day, you just have your body. And like, the most productive thing you can do is look after your one body and see what it needs and look after it and not compare to other people's because that is the situation,
Yeah.
and let go of that frustration.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Just accept it as like it's actually out of your hands. A lot of it's not your choice.
So thinking about the thoughts around it and rather than comparing physical to physical or social to social, whatever, like what is your personal experience of living your life
In your lane. And
in
yeah.
your lane, comparing to yourself. We hope this was helpful, and hopefully it, if anybody was on the fence about starting or waiting for the perfect conditions, hopefully you get started with that, be a recovery or going to get your snack or your meal now. Like, don't wait
Mm,
for those perfect conditions. Just take the
100%.
action and just do it.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable. Like it doesn't need to be a perfect process. It doesn't all
Yeah.
align. It is just a messy, uncomfortable, but short term. Like it's not, this feeling won't last forever kind of thing. It's to get you,
Yeah. To
yeah,
the other side.
place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.